All right, sooner or later, everyone's going to have to create a new project, and you do have a couple options for how you can create a project in Plant 3D. You always, we'll go ahead and we'll just X out this open sheet that we have right here. And if you notice on the Start tab, you can always go to create a new project here. But you can also use your drop-down menu right there and go to new project. So either one of those works, and both of them will get you to the same place. So we get to the part that's going to say specify the new settings, and this is where we're going to put in all of our settings for the project. So let's go ahead and give this project a name, and we will call this demo project. You give it an optional description. And then you have the option to create the project in Vault. Now I'm going to assume that most people who are going to be working on this are going to be working in a Vault environment. But if you do that, then of course you're going to have to log into your Vault, and that's going to be individual for every person. But for this demo, we're just going to create it on my machine, so we're not going to go into the Vault right there. And then we specify the directory where we want these to be stored. And let me just make one adjustment to this right here. And this just so we'll have it up at the top of the list. There we go. And of course, we can browse here and put it anywhere that we want. And if we want to copy settings from an existing project, then we can do that. So a lot of people will have a template project that they use, and then they'll just continue to copy from that project. But for right now, we're going to go ahead and do it from scratch so that you know how to do every step of it. So we'll go to Next, and then here's where we'll pick the units that are going to be used within our project. I'm going to leave mine at Imperial Units. This is going to be a US-based project. And then I'm going to pick a location for where the P&ID drawings are going to be stored at. And then also the P&ID symbology standards that are going to be used. So you can choose, process industry practices, the PIP, or you can choose International Society of Automation, the ISA standards. But in any case, you're going to pick the location of those files as well here. And once again, this button will always bring you to an area where you can browse to it. Okay, we go to our next button, and then of course we're going to decide where we're going to keep our plant model drawings. I'm going to accept the default from there, not use the button to change anything. Where are you going to keep your spec sheets? That's also important. I'm going to keep the default location for those as well, and then you're going to put where you're going to have orthographic drawings. Now you're also going to specify a directory where supporting files are going to be kept, and those supporting files can be anything. It may be PDFs, notes, Excel documents, but you will have a specified file that you specify where those will be housed at. We'll go down to the next button, and this is where you're going to choose what database that you're using. Of course, if you're in Vault and you're doing multi-user projects, then you will probably be using the SQL database. And if you do choose the SQL database, then of course you're going to have to know your SQL server name to be able to log into that. If you're using the SQL Server database, you're going to have to identify the location. You'll need to test that location to make sure you're getting through to it. And you'll also need the server name and the password to be able to do that. But for these purposes, we're just going to use the SQLite database that is on my machine. And we're going to move on to the next step. And right here is where you finish. But if you want to go ahead and start doing some additional editing into the properties as soon as you create a project, and we will talk about that a little bit later, how to edit some of those properties, but then you would just check off that and it'll bring you directly into the editing menu. But we're just going to go ahead and finish it up at this point right here. And that will create a new project on our drive where we specified. Now we're going to take a look at the Windows Explorer so we can see what the project file looks like as soon as it whips all those files up, and it's going to pretty much generate the same types of folders and everything every time that you have this. So let's go ahead and take a look at the Windows Explorer, and here we have our demo project. We'll go ahead and open that. And you'll see that You'll see it has a folder for your equipment templates and isometrics, orthos, everything that we're going to have. And you'll see that you're going to have all of the XML files that are going to be controlling parts of your isometrics, your project symbol drawing style, which is going to contain all your properties. But basically, every project is set up like this. So whenever you create this project file, it's basically a template that sets your project.